Okay, welcome everyone to our CI and Pipeline PMUX check-in. Hey Nadia. So we'll start with the first agenda item there. Let's go look at that. UX. Do you know, at some point, do you want to have a separate issue for pipeline authoring UX needs? Dove and Nadia?
We haven't really used issues to track our work like this.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's necessary. I guess
Okay.
if there's a need, we can start one, but at this point,
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. And actually this one, I usually dialogue with back and forth with Vitika on this, but since she's out, let me scroll through to see if anything has changed that I want to call out. Not really. And she and I touched base end of last week, so we can skip this agenda item and come back to it. And I don't have any questions for, I'll ping Vitika separately if I do. Agenda item 2, it's yours, NS. Are we doing initials?
So yeah, this was meant to be kind of like a read-only item, but since we don't have much on the agenda, I'll talk a little bit about it. So I noticed that we have a lot of issues currently around improving the warnings and errors in CI. So the configuration warnings and errors that you see in the pipeline page, in run the pipeline page, and also the linter. And there's no like cohesive vision for what this experience should look like and feel like and how it should work to optimize error resolution in CI. And error resolution is an extremely important part of the CI user journey. Every user at one point or another will encounter errors, and it's a very frustrating experience. So we want to improve it. So I dug around the issue boards and I tried to collect the epics and issues into like a parent epic that focuses on improving the error resolution in GitLab CI. One of the sub epics is focusing specifically on warnings and errors in the linter. However, since our vision is to have embedded linting within the editor, we will have to kind of look at those issues and see what is relevant and how we're gonna maybe reward those issues. We need to groom them to be relevant for the editor experience. And generally, I just want to look into the experience of error resolution. How can we make it as smooth as possible, even going beyond the alerts and like looking at things like documentation or maybe some help within the UI. So from everyone, I would love some help to just find whatever issues that are missing in that epic, because I think there are many more, and I tried looking for like errors and alerts and warnings, but maybe you know of some issues that you've seen in the past that are relevant. And even if they're closed already, feel free to just like shoot them my way so I can check them out for the context to understand how we came to the current place where we are with our errors and alerts and the whole error resolution experience. So you can check out the epic, and also I create the design issue to kind of evaluate the current experience. You can also have a look at that.
I think that's great. I don't think we've ever really given that a lot of dedicated effort and holistically looking at it. So I'm glad that's happening. Are you going to?
Yeah, I have a few issues that I have several issues that I've encountered, and I can add them to the epic. I'll do that.
Awesome, thanks.
Okay. Any other discussion on that topic? All right. So number 3 is read only, and it was something good that I think will benefit Vitika. She and I will benefit from that. Number 4. So I just want to make sure that there weren't any questions on how we use the candidate labels, because I know that APM team was not using that. And I don't know that there's one other team that's using it, because I see that label being used at the project level. The ones we created are at the group level for our GitLab group. It came up with actually in my one-on-one with Cheryl, and she was saying that Sam Beckham hadn't used it before and he found it confusing. So I want to make sure everyone had any questions, get them answered.
Yeah, I'd love it if you could explain a little bit how it works. I think I understand, but yeah, we haven't used them before. So
yeah. So I'll give you the context of why we use them and then how we use them. For CI, because there's so many things happening, it's one of the more mature product area that we're constantly potentially changing our priority of things we had previously planned for the next milestone. And then prior to us using candidate labels, that meant changing the milestones on a group of issues that the wider community or users might have been internally and externally been monitoring. And we ended up getting a lot of comments about how frustrating and confusing it is for someone to expect that an issue has a milestone, they saw that as a commitment, and then they see it move, that milestone changing successively, maybe 3 or 4 times. But that's because we were using that milestone indicator as a planning also tool and not just as a commitment. So we stopped putting assigning issues to a specific milestone. Instead, we invented the candidate label. For whatever reason, users seeing that candidate label on an issue doesn't interpret that as a commitment in the way they did if we put the same milestone for, like, if something had a candidate 13.7 and we also put a milestone 13.7, that was more a definitive commitment than the label. So the label became a way for us to plan, group some issues together that we want to target for a milestone, but haven't finished planning and committing it. So the way we use it is, instead of, so 2 things is the PM will put a candidate label on a milestone, and I've created them far into the future, and you see their scoping labels, so no issue can have more than 1 candidate label. A PM will put some candidate label on a group of issues that we think we want to target for a specific milestone. It also lets allows us to get a filtered list of those candidate issues so that we can identify which ones need design work to be done. And then I make sure there's either a UX label on it. And then I meet with my designer and say, of these 20 issues for a candidate for 13.7, let's say, of these 27 of these actually need truly a design. 5 of them only need some input on the copy from a UX perspective. And that's how we work with them. Now, if an issue later during planning, so right now we're planning for 13.6, if we, at the end of planning, we commit that 15 out of the 20 issues will be committed for 13.6, those 15 will get a milestone 13.6 applied to it. And then the remaining 5 will have their candidate label changed from candidate 13.6 to 13.7, or it'll be removed altogether because we decide we don't want to move forward with those. Does that help?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's aligned with my prior understanding as well, but it was good to confirm.
Yeah. One problem we have with this is it's hard for us to dog food our epic feature, because that epic feature, it's our roadmap feature, because it's driven off of epics, and it shows in the roadmap all the epics filtered on, let's say, on group or on category, but it doesn't expand the duration of the epic if you don't have pre-assigned milestones on the issue, because the epic, the duration is driven by the far into the future is driven by the furthest future milestone on an issue under that epic. And if we're not assigning milestones, it doesn't work. So what we might do is do better from the PM perspective, do better planning to try to guess how long it would take to deliver all the issues for a particular effort and maybe have a placeholder issue that has a milestone far into the future. So it stretches the epic in the roadmap feature. I haven't come up with a good solution for that yet. Maybe that placeholder issue, Lori, could be the issue to reevaluate adoption of all the features in that epic. And that could be far into the future, and that would stretch that epic duration on the roadmap. Okay, if there's no other questions, I'll move on to agenda item 5. I wanted to give everyone a heads up that I'm going to work on some problem validation for some group level pipeline dashboards. When I was looking at these issues under in our backlog that has anything to do with CI/CD metrics, Jason and I noticed these 3 are about group level pipeline dashboards. The third one is not necessarily group level, but it gave me some ideas that I'm going to try to figure out what are the common themes in these 3 issues and start some problem validation, work on it. That'll lead into some working with Vitica. We may come up with also some preliminary designs, and then if we decide at the conclusion of problem validation that we want to move forward with some of our hypotheses, then we'll go into some design work and solution validation for that. But this is one of the 3 areas that I called out as a focus area for priority for CI team during our CI team split AMA. And I want to move forward with it in 13.5. Any questions for me on that?
Just let me know if you need any help with anything. And
Totally.
as you create the research issue, if you put me on it, if you assign me to it too, then I can watch it.
Okay. Do I have to assign you, or can I ping you and then it adds you as participant?
I don't know how to track it if I'm a participant.
If you're not, okay,
we have
gotcha.
a board, and
yes.
It doesn't show up on our board unless we're assigned, I think.
Perfectly happy to assign it to you. I always feel bad if people don't want to be assigned to things they're not actively doing, but I'm glad to know that's how you want it. Perfect. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lori. Okay, that's it for my. Are there any questions for me other than that Lori?
To that point as well, just wanted to vocalize my comments that I know that Jackie and Hayana they have been doing some research and testing some of the prototypes for the CI/CD dashboard. So that would maybe interesting. I'm not sure. Are you aware of those work, or should I link some of the issues that I'm talking about out here from the release management?
Yeah, I'm vaguely aware, and I would appreciate if you link some of that. So I vaguely became aware of it when Jackie and I and Matt Gonzalez from the compliance team were in a session together, and he was talking about having dashboards for compliance purposes. And Jackie was talking through that through her team doing some problem validation. They found some things that was in interviewing users was not going to be useful at all.
Yeah.
So I'm going I'm going to make sure that I know those lessons learned so that I don't pursue something that we already know there's not a demand for. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. This is exactly what I was talking about. I will try to find those issues and we'll link it here in the agenda. I think it's just for awareness. It's just to be good to know about that as well. I think it will help you in the work you are planning to do.
Yep. Anything else on this topic? Okay, we can move on to Lori's topic number 6.
Yep. So, sorry, Andre and I are going to conduct a category maturity scorecard on the job to be done, needing to create a green pipeline so others at my team or my company can leverage CI to increase efficiency of their tasks. This is part of the CI adoption project that we're working on. And we talked to Jason and Kenny about a week and a half ago. They mentioned this is really the primary driver for them. They really want to
Mhm.
understand
Mhm.
how is our current process. So we thought, what better way to understand it than putting together a baseline summative evaluation of creating a green pipeline. So we're in the process of creating that testing plan and getting screeners and stuff ready so recruiting can start. Just more of a FYI for everybody to know about, and then once we have the data, we'll share it in Dovetail, and it'll also be linked to that issue.
Can you also, if you're gonna have any meetings around this or like interviews, can you please invite me as an optional participant? Because setting up, getting to a green pipeline is the primary metric that we're monitoring in pipeline authoring. So yeah, I'm super excited about this, and it's like perfect. If you weren't doing this, I would raise my hand and ask if we can do this now. So awesome, keep me in the loop, please. I will also check out the issue.
Yeah, yeah, you can hop on the issue, and then once we get people scheduled, I'll put it in the UX research calendar, so you can see all the events there, and then you can just come to the ones that you can attend. That's fine. So the CMS though won't be too much talking, but it will be hopefully informative, because we need to capture like success, failure, and things like that. So we'll be working with Jason to really have him help us define what success looks like and what the scenario should be, and to set up like a sandbox or a testing environment for these people to play around in.
Sounds great.
Can you please add me as well as a participant?
Yeah, so Dove, we're just going to put them all on the UX research calendar. It's a shared Google calendar. So if you add that to your, I'm sure, long list of Google calendars, just like I have, it should show up there once we have people scheduled, so you can drop into any session that's on the calendar. So I'll make sure the title is self-explanatory, so you know which sessions are the ones that you should pay attention to. And then I'll also post, once we have the Dovetail project up and going, I'll post a link to that in the issue as well, which is where all the recordings and stuff will be, in case you miss any.
Can you share the calendar as well?
The calendar is shared, you just have to find it. It's UX research, I think that's what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just UX, capital U, capital X, space, capital R, research.
I linked in item C there, 6C, for your awareness, if anyone doesn't already know, there's an issue from the PM perspective to actually create the metric for tracking first green pipeline.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Tal.
Yeah. I think Dove and Jason will be working on that one. But it may give you an idea of, you may want to help them refine that too, if you decide in what you find is they're not, there's a better way for them to track that.
Yeah, we will see.
Yeah. That's, okay. Anything else on number 6? Okay, so number 7, just a quick heads up. I haven't done much with this yet, but I'm thinking of doing a UX research project on merge trains adoption. And I'll create a UX research issue for that, for discussion at our next UX research meeting. I'll put as much as I know that I want to do with that. And then either Laura, you can chime in async in the issue and give me some help, or if you don't have a chance before then, we can have it. I'm going to throw it as an agenda item for our next UX meeting as well.
Perfect. Have you talked with, I know Orit's kind of out off and on between now and like October 10th, but did you get a chance to touch base with her about her experiences with the merge train?
I haven't, but that was something that I was thinking that I want to start off with. She did a handoff to me a while back on it, and I'm going to go back and watch that video. I was more focused during that handoff on what was next that I needed to plan for and prioritize, and not so much some of the things that she was aware of from feedback from users. So I need to go back and gather that and then see if she has anything else she wants to add to it. Yeah, so on that one as well, Lori, I'll assign you to it so you're aware, so it's on your board. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Anything else, folks? Okay, I think we're going to finish early. Yay! Anything else, folks? All right. I guess that's it for today. Give you 7 minutes back, everyone. Thanks, folks.
Thanks,
Thank you. Bye.